Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Korean Atlanta Mentorship. And in this video, we're just going to do another velocity banking review for today. And I don't know about you, but to me, if this feels like a cheat code, velocity banking. Do you think it's a cheat code? Because I felt like it was the ultimate cheat code for me. And what's velocity banking? It's just throwing all your money at debt with the help of a line of credit. Okay. Just remember that. You're throwing all your money at debt. And so if you've ever told your friends, hey, I'm not going to save money. Okay. I'm not going to save money and I'm going to be intentional about it. How many of your friends would you think would freak out? Right. And I remember asking ChatGPT this a long time ago, where it's like, if I told my friends I don't save money or I don't plan to save 3 to 6 months of savings, how do you think they'd react? And then he was like, oh, they'd kind of react kind of bad to that. And it's like, and then I asked ChatGPT, like, hey, but they're probably broke too. So what's the big deal? It's like it's not the fact that you don't save money, it's the fact that they like the idea of savings, and it's like, that makes no sense, but that's what ChatGPT told me, and ChatGPT, even though it can't, AI in general can't do things like spell when you draw, right? Like, when you have a picture and a drawing, you ask it, "Hey, draw me this," and then it can't spell for some reason. It really has great deep psychological insight or insight to the human mind, right? That's why AI is amazing. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with this whole velocity banking thing. So what do we do? Number one is we need a budget, three credit cards, an auto loan, a student loan, and a mortgage. So this is very similar to the last situation, but I think most people would be freaked out about the 7% mortgage. And I'm going to tell you something. I would rather buy a $200,000 home at a higher interest rate than a $300,000 home at a lower interest rate, given the monthly payment is very similar, right? Just be aware that the principal is always required and the interest is optional. That's why I don't freak out about it. Of course, you want the lowest interest rate, but it's not something that I care too much about. Okay. So we have the budget, we have our income expenses, we only have a pitiful $464 of savings left over. And you know what's funny? As a six-figure earner, let's say you make six figures and you get an additional 10, 20 grand in your paycheck. I don't know if you know the term marginal taxes or marginal tax rates, but usually the more money you make, especially as a W-2 employee, the less you really earn because the more you just get taxed. So if you want to make more money, you have to make like an extra 50 or $100,000. When you were making like $20,000 a year, like I used to make, I would have been really excited by a 10 or $20,000 raise. Now, if you make more than six figures as a W-2 employee, that 10, $20,000 raise doesn't really come to anything. That's why people get really, like, focused on tax deductions and all that. Now, we're not gonna cover that today because 'cause I'm not an accountant, but something that we have to be aware of that, it's why a lot of six-figure people go broke, because even though they look good on paper, they aren't actually really making that much money because a lot of it's going to taxes. So, let's go ahead and do this, the velocity banking side. So, what's the velocity banking side? Is that you just, we assume we have the same income and expenses, but we don't have any savings, and we're going to throw all our money into something called a line of credit. So, what's a line of credit? All it is a financial tool where you could borrow money, pay it back, and then use it over and over again. So, this is my $280,000 home equity line of credit. I literally click a button on the bank's website, and then they'll lend me up to $280,000 in one go without me even trying. Isn't that crazy? That's crazy, right? So $280,000. And so if I take a look here, right, what we're going to do is assume we have a $65,000 line of credit. Now, will the bank ever lend you money when you're in a situation like this where, oh my goodness, I only have $400 left over after all my bills are paid? Probably not. Why? Because banks don't lend money to people who need it. Do you know that? Banks don't lend money to people who need it. And so a lot of this velocity banking stuff is actually kind of a warning. Don't even get here. Like, I learned this stuff before I even knew what a line of credit was. So I never hadn't really taken, or I had no real experience with debt. And I certainly learned this before I even got a mortgage. Right. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to take these three credit cards, which is going to be 27 plus 15 plus 10. That's going to be 52,000. and then move it to the line of credit. And guess what happens by moving these 3 credit cards into the line of credit? 0, 0, 0. And then now the savings is we literally went for $464 to $2,156.92 in one swoop if we had a line of credit. Now, I don't know about you, but that feels like a really easy debt-free cheat code to me, right? So that's going to be really easy to really increase that cash flow without any savings. You don't need any savings because why? Your line of credit is essentially your new emergency fund now, and you don't have to eat beans and rice. Okay. So let's go ahead and do this. And I'm going to just do this. And G2 plus H2 minus 2156.92. Whoopsie, 56.92. So basically, our new balance is going to be based on the previous month's balance, previous month's interest, and our cash flow. Why? Because every single month, this is what we're doing. Whoopsie, we're going to put our entire paycheck, the 6,500, into the line of credit, and then we're going to take our expenses out. And then after every single month, we're going to have the balance lower debt by $2,100. So let's go ahead and do this. I'm going to take the average daily balance to get the interest, multiply by the interest rate, and then divide by 12. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste all of this, right? Copy and paste all of this. And now, okay. And now after 27 months, right? 27 months, okay, we paid off $52,000 of debt. Easy, so easy. And we're not sweating, right? And so now we have this auto loan, okay? Now, after 27 months, we need to find out the balance of all of the loans and figure out which ones to pay off, right? So I'm going to do 29, 29, 29. Now, if you take a look at this, okay, most people are so highly focused on the interest rate. And we're actually not going to focus on the interest rate, okay? Why is that? Because we want to focus bang for our buck, okay? So if I pay off this auto loan, I get $450 back in my cash flow. Whereas if I pay off the student loan, I only get 420, okay? Whereas with this mortgage, I got to pay over $200,000 to get $1,400 back in my cash flow. So even though this is actually the highest of the interest rates, we're just going to go in order, okay? So let's go ahead and do this. And what I'm going to do is take the balance of this one and move it into that lock line of credit. Let's go ahead and do that. And now, okay, I'm going to do this plus 13 grand, right? Plus 13523.24. And then what we're going to do is I am going to mark this as 0. And now our cash flow is about $2,600. And I'm going to just go ahead and do this and do this. And we're going to upgrade our cash flow to 2616.21. Okay. And let's see when it goes to 0. And that's going to be in 32 months. So in 32 months, right? So in 32 months, it's going to be 52 plus 25. So 77K will have been paid off. And now let's go ahead and tackle the student loan in 32 months. So it's 32, 32. And then as a safe bet, right? If the interest rate is lower than the line of credit, probably your best bet is to do something called a chunking method. Although, even though the line of credit interest rate is 8 and this is 6.5 and 7, it's not like a big difference. Okay. So you might feel comfortable moving the whole thing into a line of credit, even including this 220,000. Now, when you have a huge interest rate difference, that's when, you don't want to move the whole thing into a line of credit. Okay. So I'll just use a chunking method just to be safe for now. We're using 8% interest line of credit. So what does that mean? You're just kind of moving pieces into a line of credit, dumping all of your money. And here's one of the reasons why we do that is because we don't want to what we call segregate our income, right? We don't segregate our income. So let me just kind of fill in all of this deets or detailed information. Give me one moment. All right, so here we have our velocity banking calculator. If you don't know where I got this from Renatus, which is where I originally learned velocity banking from. And if you want to up your financial literacy and real estate investing game, go ahead and click the Google form link below. I'm really intentional that I get commission on this just because, you know, got to make money, right? Actually, I don't even need money. You know how I don't need to make money is because I got these huge lines of credit, and banks don't lend money to people who need it, right? And this is actually, hold on. Where's my mortgage? Yeah, paid off in 2 years and 9 months. Blah blah blah. I've said that a lot of time, but yeah. So I learned this concept from Renatus, and then we're just gonna go ahead and fill in the details. That's all we do. Really easy, right? What's the loan balances right here? So 29,345. Let's see, 29,345.6. Whoops, what am I doing? I'm so confused. 29,345.69. 29,345.69. And then here is 37,000. And then the interest rate is 6.5%, 10 years. And what's the payment amount? It is 420.13. And then what I do here is I just add in the expenses, which is everything except for the loan we're trying to pay off. Let me just do this right here. So 3463.67. 3463.67. Whoopsie. So 3463.67. Okay. Bam, paid off in 0.8 years. All right. So that is fantastic. And then now this is 0. And then so now it's 32 divided by 12 plus 0.8. Wait a minute. 32 times, no, my bad. Times 12. So it's 42 months approximately. It takes us to pay off that student loan. And then now it's 77,000 plus 37, right? How much is that? That is 114K, 104K. All right. So now we just tackle on the mortgage. So let's go ahead and do this. And at 42 months, so this is 0. What's the balance of our mortgage? 211. So we just got to fill in the details. So 200. So this is 30. This is $2,000. And then 220,000, 211,445.7, 211,445.7. The interest rate is 7%, and the payment amount is 1463.67. 1463.67. Okay, so one thing I want to show is if there's not that much an interest rate difference between the loan and the line of credit, then it's relatively safe to move the entire thing into a line of credit. So let me just compare here. So we'll just call it chunking, which means we're making $7,000 chunks or moving $7,000 into a line of credit, making it go to 0. So this is 4.6 years, 36K of interest. I'm sorry, 36K of interest. Now let's see how much a first lien HELOC would cost. 43 grand, right? So 4.8 for the first lien HELOC is 43 grand and 4.8 years. Okay. So again, would I do a first lien HELOC even though it's just 1% interest rate difference? Probably not. So I'll just do the little chunks and then just kind of slash my debt. It's not that big of a difference, but it's a little bit faster. Okay. So I'm going to do that. And then let me go in here and just type in 4.6 years. So let's go in here. Where to go? So this is now 0. So this is 42 divided by 12 plus 4.6. And then this is 8.2 years. And we are so debt free. And I don't know, do you think it's a cheat code? I think it's a cheat code because if I had never learned this stuff, I would have done what most the average American does, which is just kind of look for the tiniest payment and hopefully, um, somehow that makes me a winner because that's what a lot of people think. I don't know if you do that. Like they literally think that the interest rate of a loan is really just a loan times the interest rate. That's what a lot of people actually think. But really, if you actually go to the full term of the loan, right? So it's not just 220,000 times 7%, it's 360, and then you take a look at the total interest that you pay. 306 grand is the interest, so you're paying about more in the interest than you are in the loan, which is sad, right? Like, you were interested in the house, so you bought the house and then you bought the bank a house too, right? That's what really 7% interest means, after 30 years. So, for most people, even if their home value appreciates, like it doubles in value, that really doesn't mean anything. It means absolutely nothing for most people. So I would rather have it paid off in, 4.6 years and only pay 36 grand of interest than, I don't know. That's so sad. I'm like really sad thinking about that now. Rather than paying 100 and whatever 50% in interest. So let's go ahead and do this, and 8.2 years free. And can I get a goat? Can I get a goat in the channel? Or not even, what am I saying? I'm not even live. Goat in the comments, because we are the greatest of all time. And for every month we do this, we are becoming the greatest of all time. The goat, right? This is me, the financial goat, because I paid off my mortgage in 2 years and 9 months. Got to do a little bit of flex before we end today's call. All right. Well, that's it for today, folks. This is Crane Atlanta Mentorship, the so-called cheat code hack, velocity banking, just another review. And so have a great day, and we will see you on the next video.